I'd like to think of football as a really simplistic thing. It brings people together, and I feel like design also brings people together in a certain way, and I really like that kind of link between the two.
Tom Pitts, hand-drawn pixels, World Cup story, and what a story.
From a conversation over, a knock on the door, a cup of tea with the Global Scarves, to something which is on such a world level. We were trying to navigate something which possibly wasn't even ever been done before. It's physically impossible. We created a yarn shortage in Turkey. I think good ideas aren't limited to geography. I think everyone has an amazing idea. We just need to push it out there.
The craft of design is often synthesizing lots of different references and managing tensions.
We really felt that every country deserved their own story. It's got to be a wearable product, but it's also a piece of art as well. Great design isn't decoration, it's all about storytelling. Try and make something which is about storytelling, getting other people's point of view, and don't underestimate the power of relationships and networking.
With World Cup fever in the air, it is my pleasure to introduce today's Sparks guest, Tom Pitts, the founder of Yorkshire-based creative agency Hand Drawn Pixels. Tom, welcome to Sparks.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here. You worked with Global Scarves LLC, your client, to design the official FIFA 2026 scarf collection. It's a massive task. It ended up seeing something like 300 unique scarf designs. Let's talk about landing that World Cup brief. It's a story of a small creative studio near Leeds, UK, getting a design gig that's probably one of the biggest stages on the planet. It's summer 2026 now. Let's wind the clock back. When and how did this collaboration come about?
It was around about March last year, so 2025. Within our area here where we're based, which is just north of Leeds in Otley, we have what's called Wolfbank Mills, and there are multiple of different businesses within this area, from like stone companies to beauty therapy, but also there's quite a lot of creative types as well, but ranges from all sorts of different sectors. And we'd been working with Global Scarves on a couple of other projects previously, and we were put forward by the manager of the whole complex, saying, "Oh, I think you guys could work together really quite well. You're both small over here in the UK, so we're a very small entity here. There's just 4 of us in Hand Drawn Pixels. Global Scarves are predominantly a US-based company, hence the LLC." But they do have a UK arm to them, and that little, I say little in the strongest sense. There's a few of them in there, but their office was looking for some sort of creative, mainly because they actually gained the license for the World Cup, and they needed something to really just be a little bit more to help them. Pull everything together. They came to us. There's a little tap on the door. We'd also met in the little area out here, which is the kitchen area, and it was almost like a coming together. We seemed to be a really good fit for what they needed. We could be flexible. We really quite like to work on tangible products. And we want to be really creative, and that's something that helped us both together to gain that trust as well.
And you mentioned being in a mill. Yorkshire, famous heritage with textiles. Do Global Scarves themselves have that sort of connection with the textile industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So Alan is, I think he's 3rd generation now of a textile maker. He has factories more in the centre of Leeds, and they do traditional knit scarves. His granddad's still around as well, and he's still very ingrained in that whole industry. And it's really quite nice. The mill itself here is a old textile mill. We didn't know that until quite late on. I know we've been here for quite a long time, but it's something that is really quite amazing that everything's almost coming full circle. Yes, we have designed it, we haven't actually made it here, but it's that kind of full circle moment, which has really been quite nice.
And I mean, what was going through your head when you realised that a single boutique studio would be responsible for every single scarf from first sketch to final product?
To be honest, it's yeah. I think at the time we just thought it was just going to be a couple of designs. So we just went through the process that we always do with every single client is working out the initial concept phase, looking at all the brand guidelines which were in place, and then looking at the host cities and host nations. So those were the two main areas that we were looking at. And within that, there were going to be quite a lot of design. So we did take a step back initially and go, right, okay, there's quite a few bits here that we need to look at, really ingrained ourselves into the whole thing. I did, there was a point where it almost felt like in my head there was just like a big boom on the desk where there was, it felt like the old school way of when the brand guidelines used to land with it all printed out in that massive books, even though it wasn't like that. It was actually PDFs just coming through, but those PDFs were massive. And at that point we were like, okay, right, let's just try and work our way through this and just see what's what.
Let's stop, just pause there a sec, because the brand guidelines, I'm thinking about the scale of the challenge you took on here. We had I think it was 48 competing nations over the standard traditional 32 this year. We hinted earlier on about the total being past 300 designs. We've got FIFA's brand guidelines. I guess there are guidelines for each of the countries, the nations. Just how did you bring those things together?
Yeah, so it was more like baby steps from our point of view, because we didn't want to let everything just be like too much for us. So we started off really quite small. We looked at the initial design which was put forward, which is the 2 and the 6. I think everyone's aware of that now, with the logo in the middle, well, the trophy in the middle, and that they had their own like look and feel, and then that basically dripped down into host nations and host cities. And from there we started to look at the different designs which could work for basically each country, but each country is in the USA, Mexico and Canada. From there was no guidelines for the actual qualifying teams themselves. Now there are obviously guidelines for those individual nations, but we were trying to navigate something which possibly wasn't even ever been done before, which was having the brand itself, so the 2026 brand, but sort of working its way through the actual the qualifying countries, but also keeping in mind that all the cultural references and things like that. So it was a monumental feat, and it's one where we were about 4 or 5 months into the process, and we were approached from FIFA to say, right, we'd really want the qualifying teams to have their own scarf, their own look and feel, and we were like, well, have you got any guidelines at all? And they're like, well, obviously they are the initial guidelines for each individual ones, but we want it all encompassing. So we were like, well, how about, their own kind of geometric shapes, patterns and things like that. And they were like, well, yeah, go for it. That'd be amazing if you could do that, because traditionally scarves are just a block color with a name on it, and that's it. That mainly because of down to the production process, but it's just a traditional way of doing it. So we just really wanted to push that boat out and just have everything linked together all the way through. So that's how everything started to work its way through. We really got into the qualifying process, because we started to look at the teams which could potentially qualify. So we had to do designs which were teams which we had to guess were going to be qualifying. So there's some teams which are where designs have not necessarily come out into the wild, because unfortunately they've
there were some surprises.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So when we always say that there's initial 48 teams, we've probably did at least 50 or 60 designs just for all the other countries which never see the light of day. Let's say Italy, Wales, and Ireland. Oh, I wish they qualified, because I really like those designs as well. So yeah, it's just been a monumental feat of just trying to work our way through. And I've said it before, where it's almost become creatively addictive. Every single day we would start off with a new design, or even pick up a design which we've done before, where we're like, okay, we can probably do with tweaking that. And it became that process of just sitting down and just working our way through it. And yeah, very, very addictive in the end.
You've given us a really nice example of how you kind of work through from that top down hierarchy, the host nations and some of the top line brand guidelines. Let's get into the detail of the single countries. I mean, we've got flag colours, kit history, cultural patterns, historic figures, national language, arts. How do you stop a design becoming a sort of cliched cultural mashup, or maybe inadvertently treading on some toes that you don't want to, while coming out with something that's coherent and consistent and ultimately is going to look great on the world stage?
Yeah, we definitely set out. We didn't want a generic football scarf. We really felt that every country deserved their own story, and whether that was through the national culture, history, architecture, looking at even artists themselves, flags, and even a bit of football heritage. Certainly, when we're looking at the England side of things, and we really had to toe that line of pushing the boat out there, but also at the same time as just trying to make it as cultural acceptable as we humanly possibly can, or we hope it happen that we can be. And we had to do so much research into every single bit we found. So certain countries were a little bit easier than others. We scoured the internet initially, then looked into went analog, if you like, and looking in books and just trying to find something which was linked to that particular country, and also just trying to make it unique. Well, not necessarily unique, but a way which the people within that country, or from that country, or even people from outside the country could actually say, that's Germany, for example, or that's Japan. And it's those bits where we really had to almost take a step back, and then to go back in again to delve into what we can do and what we can't do, and even looking at certain symbols and things like that, and just making sure that everything was just right. I think a lot of things which made everything really pop was actually the colours, and how we can actually use those colours, how we can use them against each other, and how we can make things pop in a certain way. And I think it's certainly the feedback we've had is it's been amazing from that, because of just how people have enjoyed seeing the scarves in the stadium, but also wearing them as well.
And the craft of design is often synthesizing lots of different references and managing tensions. It would be easy to assume things like what language the country's name is printed in might be a really easy thing to make a decision on. But was that as easy as it seems?
No. So the actual layout of the designs themselves, on one side it's We Are Spain, for example, and then with the actual background. But on the flip side, we would always try and put the name of the country in the local language. So Spain, for example, España, that's relatively easy. Certain other countries was a little bit difficult. Switzerland, for example, or was it Austria? Switzerland and Austria, I think I would say. That's quite difficult because there's like a merge of different languages. So yeah, we either had to say, right, okay, well the population is predominantly that is their predominant language, or we had to be really, really safe and go, right, we're going to have to go just go English on the other side, just in case.
We can't go any further without seeing some of the scarves. You must have some there out of shot. So what's on your desk? Talk us through them.
Well, I suppose the Spanish scarf, because they won, and so this is the Spanish scarf. So you'll see that the layouts are very, very similar in the text layout. So it's the "we are" followed by the name, and each end is has the logo and "we are." And then on the other side, if we can do it the right way around, we've got the name in the local language. This one's based on Dali, and that is abstract work. There's another one here where we've got Japan, so you'll notice how different they all start to look with this really, really traditional pattern we found, but then we just try to simplify it right down to make it really, really pop with the different colours, because there's only certain colours in this one. Where I think it's actually 3 blues and a red going through this one. But we're trying to make it really, really pop quite nicely. The one thing which it's a bit of a divided opinion, really. The matchups. We call them matchups. They could be half and half scarves. So they do have different names to them. But I was unaware of this. Obviously, I'm a massive football fan, and I know about these scarves, and certainly in the UK and Europe to a certain degree, that these scarves, they don't necessarily like them. People prefer to say that they're from a certain team. They don't really want to see 2 teams mashed together. So that's what I'm referring to when it comes to half and half. It's normally a match, so a club versus a club mashed together. But in America, they're really, really quite popular. And it wasn't until I actually went to one of the matches in the US that I sort of got it. And I think it's becoming more and more like this, where there's people want to take mementos away from events like this. And I've got there's no evidence from this, it's just from my own personal opinion, but I went through the turnstiles, and it was a digital turnstile where it was on my phone. The ticket was on my phone to get through, and I was like, well, there's nothing there which shows that I've actually been to that event. So I can see why that these scarves have suddenly become really, really quite popular. So it's that memento to take it away rather than something digital. And I had a lot of apprehension when it came to this, because I designed something where it was a block color, sorry, not block color, block design, and I didn't necessarily think that they should be mashed together. And we went for it. We went, right, okay, we've got these designs now. Some of the designs are all 8, so we are limited of how many colors we can use. So it's 8 per scarf, 8 colors, and that brought its own issues into when we started merging them together. So we really had to then push those designs back, but also try and make them as unique as we can, really, and similar to the original design. So, for example, this is the Brazil Haiti scarf design here. So as you can see, we've got some really nice clashes of color, but it also really stands out. And these became really, really popular. So if you search the scarves online, you'll see quite a lot of these held up high. And yeah, they have grown on me, I must admit. There's another one here of Scotland. Now, the Scotland one is really quite interesting, because we really had to push this one quite far back. So this is Scotland, Morocco. And as you can see there, you can see the design coming through. But the Scotland one was really, really quite intricate. on the main scarf. We had purple in here, we had bits of yellow, and we had to really knock that back to make sure that this one would actually hit that 8 colours. And it's it's amazing. It's amazing when you see them held aloft.
How did that sort of recognition about the importance of the physicality, the three-dimensional product, in the absence, like you said, of old school physical tickets that you'd stick on your bedroom wall and so on, how did that realization that the emotional connection and memento of being there at this incredible event, a one-off thing, inform the decisions you made as a creative?
I think it's mainly down to the actual design itself. We knew that it was going to be a tangible product. It's something that we were very aware of right at the beginning, and we wanted something which was part of the culture of that particular country, but also as a wearable product. That it's got to be a wearable product, but it's also a piece of art as well. We wanted that kind of connection between the two things. Granted that some of these, a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, I really like the design because of X, Y, and Z, but they don't know the meaning behind it. But we just wanted to make sure that each product has its own story to tell. And I wish it happened more and more when we were across there. It's like, oh, you're the scarf designer, because a lot of people didn't really realise that it was us. But a lot of people did come up and ask about, like, what's the meaning behind this one? What's the meaning behind that one? And obviously we can refer them to the Global Scarves websites for the majority of the designs, but it was great to just talk about it. It's like, right, well, there's a reason because of X, Y, and Z. It's down to a shirt pattern that I found, or a certain weave that I really liked. So yeah, it was that kind of thing of just making everything link together. And I think it's better. It's quite interesting to see something on screen, seeing the samples, and then you go, oh yeah, you start to get that momentum of going, oh right, yeah, that's really quite interesting. But then when you actually see it in the stadiums, panning across to the audience, the crowd, sorry, it's incredible. It's amazing to see that these people have actually paid for a product that I've actually designed.
And was there a nation that was surprisingly challenging to design for, or maybe went through more iterations than you'd anticipated?
Yeah. So it's mainly the countries which have had a lot of war, or they've been broken up in certain countries, and it was just trying to navigate through that kind of how we can be how we can make sure that it is right for that particular area. So the one which was one of the hardest was, and I can never pronounce it, which is here we go, and mainly because we used to find different. We'd find a really nice pattern, or we would find something which is like stitched into some folk costume, and we're like, oh, okay, that'd be really nice to use something like that, or we can try and embellish onto that. And the problem was that it was probably linked to another country, or there's certain things where we were like, oh, okay, we've got to be really careful here. And so I was struggling with this one quite a lot, and then I suddenly found one of the churches in the capital, and I saw their roof, and the roof pattern was just incredible. I made out the tiling pattern, and it is quite common in Europe, but this one was really quite unique and quite intricate, and I just thought, oh, it'd be really nice if we could actually take that pattern and roll it through. And so this is how it materialized, this kind of really nice chevron pattern. It looks modern, but also it's a link back to traditional heritage, and I really quite liked the fact that it's a weaving technique, but we're also mimicking an age-old technique of roofing and that kind of thing, and potentially a bit of masonry as well. And I just thought, yeah, there's some nice connections going on there.
And it's maybe a slightly unfair question, but have you got a personal favourite in the collection of 300 or so, and why?
It's the Germany one. I
Okay.
don't have it here, unfortunately. My son has it in his bedroom, along with my England scarf and things like that. But the Germany one, it resonates with me quite a lot. It's because it's one of the first designs I did. We were under the impression that they were going to be one of the better teams. Unfortunately, they didn't do as well this year. And I like Germany in general, and I thought, how can we actually make these scarves resonate with the people of Germany? And we designed two scarves, a black version and a white version. There's a reason why we have two designs for everything, is because of the way we initially did some designs, and we put forward to a company called Fanatics, and they loved the design so much that they wanted that range exclusive to them. So we came out of that meeting and went, oh, right, okay. So we need to do some more design, because we want, obviously, the retail and the FIFA store want to have something to sell. So that's why when I refer to there's two designs. And with the German design, you always think about the kits and how amazing some of those kits are, certainly in the 80s and 90s. And there's some amazing chevron look and feel. And I ran with it with the white version, where we had that chevron pattern, and it was rolling throughout. And I really wanted some sort of dynamic movement within that. So I really like that one. But the one which I really, really, really like, and my favourite, is the black version. And mainly because the German scarf is traditionally black. We've got the Bavarian chevrons going throughout it. But we wanted it in an abstract way, so we took that apart, put some like brush strokes in there. We then put a dynamic pattern through it, and that to me was the one which I knew how we could actually roll out the other designs, because of the way the production is made, how the weaving techniques and things like that, is you can't necessarily do really, really intricate patterns. With that one, I put forward to Global Scarves, like, look, I really, really like this design. It's a nice chevron pattern. We've got these kind of breakouts from the design. Can this be done? And credit to Global, they were like, well, let's give it a go. Let's go to Turkey, where they're made, and let's see what they say, and let's put it through the machines. And that was something where we went, right, we know what we can and what we can't do.
You mentioned Turkey. I'd love to spend a bit more time talking about that transition from the creative process to how it actually gets around someone's neck in one of the stadiums. Could you talk to us about the technology, the fabric, the weaves, the different locations? Because it was a World Cup, but it was a sort of world operation as well.
Yes, yeah. So everything was designed here in Otley, and there was lots of back and forth with Global Scarves, of working out what was right and what wasn't, and then on top of that, there's also the sign-off process with FIFA. So we have to go through quite a massive process with that, and put forward our thoughts why those designs are in a certain way, and obviously we just discussing with the Global Scarves in America as well. But once everything's set in stone, we then put that into a big template, essentially, which we send across to Turkey. But on this side, we look at the designs, and then we look at the yarns. So the yarn colours is basically what encompasses the scarf itself. It's a bit of a different weave to normal. So this is it's a scarf which is quite popular in America. So when it goes around your neck, it folds, it settles in a certain way, and it's quite quite rigid, if you like, but they're designed to be held up aloft a crowd, and they look really quite nice. These are almost classed as a bit of a HD kind of, so like a high definition kind of weave. We still restricted with the 8 colours, but you can definitely do quite a lot to these. And what we had to do is we had to pick the yarns. So we had to look at all the colours in there and look at what would work with that particular design. So all the way through, we would have these yarn colours in front of us, but sometimes you'd want to just push that colour out ever so slightly. And in certain cases, we've had to get the yarns dyed to match that particular colour. So there's Guadalajara, for example, has quite a unique green to it. So we had to really push the boat out on that. There are staple colours that we can use, and those are the ones which tend to roll out for everything. So we have been a little bit with a hand tied behind our back to a certain degree with certain things, where it was like, oh, you can only use 3 reds, for example. But we really it's been really an interesting way of actually doing that. But it also helps with the creative process as well, because then you don't need to like go. You have to have a unique color for everything. You can actually really bring everything back. So once we picked those yarns, we then sent it to the factory in Turkey, and that factory is amazing. It's these massive machines. See, I come from a traditional print background, so I'm used to these massive litho machines where you have certain colours, and you spot colours, different Pantones and things, and you'd automatically think, oh, it's a very similar process. It really isn't. You go into these factories and it's phenomenal. They're all upright, so the ceilings are really high, and the way they weave it is very traditional. When you think about a traditional factory, it's like that, but faster in a certain way, and they're coming out, and it reminds me of the Wallace and Gromit when it's Shaun the Sheep, when he's been shorn and it goes, and you get his little his little jumper at the end of it. It's very much like that, but just on with a finer, a smaller area, and it's phenomenal to see that there's these big cones which feed into the machine, and it's like anything really. Some of the products are always different. So even though it's like the same design, it could the weave could so the yarn could be slightly different. It might be from a different supplier, but still the same color. We created a yarn shortage in Turkey.
That's a claim.
Well, the amount of scarves we had to put through, and that was incredible.
Tom, looking back on the whole project, what's the one thing that maybe you're proudest of that most people watching from the outside, watching the matches, wouldn't have even noticed or known about?
Well, from my point of view, the proudest moments is just that, if someone turns around and says, that's Hand-Drawn Pixels who have done that would have been amazing. And I think that's more local rather than global. But I think that's what makes me proud, is that someone from Yorkshire is on the global scale. I think good ideas aren't limited to geography. I think everyone has an amazing idea. We just need to push it out there, and I think relationships as well. I think it's been great to see and work with people who want the same goal in the end. Well, used a football pun there, and but it's that kind of thing of just like creating something which, I know the World Cup's not everyone's cup of tea, but I like to think of football as a really simplistic thing. It brings people together, and I feel like design also brings people together in a certain way, and I really like that kind of link between the two. From a conversation over, a knock on the door, a cup of tea with the Global Scarves, to something which is on such a world level, and all it is in essence is a design, a scarf, which is a simple object, and football, which is just a kick around. It's that kind of thing where you've got those two simple things together, which is just building into one massive thing. I think that's how I see it. I've taken a step back kind of thing and looking at it from an outsider's point of view. I've really, that's what makes me proud, really.
You're already a professional innovator. Your work's appeared on the global stage. Maybe what's one thing you learnt about the innovation and creative process that you'll take forward and that maybe people watching this episode can apply in their own work?
I think it's research is important for creativity. Say yes to any projects. It won't scare you. Anything. It could be little, but it could really expand. Making sure that great design isn't decoration. It's all about storytelling. Try and make something which is about storytelling. I think that with the AI side of things and that coming in every day in life, it's almost creating something which is now. You need to create a story behind everything, making sure that there's meaning behind each one. It's not just it looks pretty. It's got to have that kind of real basis to things, and I think that's how I've always tried to design, but I also really want to push that forward as well. Collaborating with people as well always produces better work. I do find that it's the age-old thing. No idea is a bad idea. No idea is a bad idea. Every idea is a good idea, and it's just getting other people's point of view, and don't underestimate the power of relationships and networking. It's when you start talking to people, there'll be a spark out there. There'll be something where you could go, actually, we've not tried that, and it might not be design. It could be down to the production process or the R&D. Just having more people you can talk to about it, and they might not necessarily know about the subject matter, but you can just say, do you know anything about X, or do you know anything about Y? And that just suddenly sparks something else, and I really quite like that, and then that can be brought back into the design process.
There's still room for serendipity.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you for sharing an incredible journey. Tom Pitts, Hand-Drawn Pixels, World Cup story, and what a story. Thanks for joining us.